Tattooing as we know it can be documented as far back as 3300 BCE, as seen in the discovery of Otzi the Iceman in 1991 and ancient Egyptian mummies bearing tattoos of animals and various creatures. The practice, however, is believed to have originated over 10,000 years ago. The mechanics of tattooing have changed a bit over the years, and the pigments and inks used have widely improved in recent times. Nostril piercing has been documented in the Middle East as far back as 4,000 years. The fashion continued in India in the 16th century and is still widely practiced there today. Both ear and nostril piercing and jewelry are mentioned in the Bible. It wasn't until after World War II that car customization became a widespread trend in the United States. A new hot rod favorite was a Ford Coupe, which had been America's first affordable V8 car in the 1930s. People could also pick up V8 engines from wrecks in the scrapyard and put them into their cars. The late 1940s and early 1960s were the golden age for customized cars in the hot rod style. Young men had money and they wanted to have fast, hot cars meant for speed. Even though many of the modifications owners made were performance-oriented, appearance was equally important. People in these photos are marking themselves for life to remind them of past family members, ancient sayings, religious scriptures, or names of their current family or love interests, and to visually promote their identity and or group affiliation. They have a deep meaning behind their tattoos that relate to their life in some way. These tattoos have been carefully thought out and have lots of heart and respect put into them. Within these photos would be 4 of the 5 key meanings that tie into the idea of getting a tattoo. The 4 key meanings would be life event, self, relationship, and spiritual, which help support the fact that each tattoo in this group of photos means something special to the individual that got them. For example, life event could be a mother beating breast cancer, while self could be your favorite superhero or sports team tattooed on your arm or leg. By doing my interviews with professional tattoo artists, I was told that people who put thought and meaning into their tattoos will still be proud of their ink 10 to 15 years down the line.
My name is Candice Churchill, and I've worked in the tattoo industry since 2005.
How often do you tattoo people who have no meaning behind their body modification?
I'd say probably 25% of the time.
Is it more common for people to get tattoos that are meaningful to them? What age groups are more common to get tattoos?
I would say maybe younger, but right now it's everyone gets tattoos.
Is it more common for females or males to get tattoos, or equal?
I tattoo a lot of females.
How many repeat customers do you guys have come into your shop? How many repeats? Tons. Perfect. Within this section of tattoos would be the 5th key meaning behind getting tattoos, and that is to just get one. There's no deep reasoning behind them. The tattoo artist that worked on the man with the Superman tattoo said he tried to talk him out of it. Oftentimes, the artist will make the client think on a tattoo idea for a couple days. Some of these tattoos are cover-ups from previous regrettable tattoos, and some will end up being covered up. It is less common for people to get tattoos with no meaning. The age restriction helps with this. It's meant to have people be more mature about their decisions towards tattoos.
Oh, my name is Philip, also known as Spider. I've been tattooing for 26 years.
What got you interested in the culture of tattoo art and to work in the industry?
I've always loved to draw. I've been drawing ever since I can remember walking. It just took it from there. I like the permanency of it.
Sure. Why do you think the culture of tattoos is so powerful in the 21st century?
It's actually not. It's getting powerful. It was powerful way back when, a lot more than it is now. I mean, now they're just pretty pictures. They used to be meaningful. They had power or whatever, you know.
If you don't mind, do you have any tattoos that you could describe significance of?
Basically, I support just fantasy art.
Okay.
You know, I love the free spirit of the fantasies, the elves, dragons.
For sure. How often do you tattoo people who have no meaning behind their body modification?
Too often. Should have some kind of representation for you, you know, not just a
Exactly.
pretty picture.
Exactly.
You know, your styles and your tastes change.
Exactly.
You get a pretty picture, you might not think it's a pretty picture 20 years from now. You know?
That's what I read, yeah.
You
in
know,
the
it's
research.
just-
Something that means something to you, right?
it helps.
For sure. Is it more common for people to get tattoos that are meaningful to them or not?
Avid collectors usually have some basis of meaning behind it somewhere.
What age groups are more common to get tattoos?
There's no age groups anymore. I mean, everybody's getting it. It used to be sailors and convicts. Now it's lawyers, doctors. You know.
For sure. Is it more common for females or males to get tattoos or equal? You kind of answered that already, but...
I would say more towards the females, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 'cause they seem to get the bigger pieces. I don't know, it's a genetic thing.
Sure.
They can deal with pain better than we can.
Roughly what types of cultures, like, I guess you already answered this, college, ethnic groups come in for tattoos, but now it's more...
Yeah, it's more mainstream.
More
It's
mainstream.
getting more mainstream daily.
Okay. Generally, what do they pick? Ones that relate to their cultural significance, or...
Depends on where you are.
For sure.
You know, some people are more into the culture stuff. Some people are more into the look at me, you know, that kind of shit.
Yep.
So
For sure. How many repeat customers you guys come into your shop?
I've had lots of repeats. Not since I've been here. I haven't been here that long. But I've had customers travel multiple states
Oh, wow.
just to get tattooed by me.
For sure.
Pat myself on the back or something.
Can you talk about any unique tattoos that you have given people in the past?
Okay, elaborate on unique.
I guess bizarre, something that kind of shocked your mind, or something that you never thought would be
I did
tattooed.
130 stars on one woman,
Oh, wow.
starting from the inside edges of both lips, not the ones on her face, went around her cheek, up her back, over her shoulder, around her breast, and up behind her ear.
Oh, wow.
So,
Oh,
yeah, it's a bunch of stars. Stars.
wow. Yeah, for the American flag, was it, or just the
It
stars?
was
or-
just stars.
The stars, eh? Wow.
Let's see. I tattooed a tongue.
Ooh, Jesus.
Set of cherries right on the tongue.
Ooh, is that a lot different than like the skin, or is it?
Yes, it's much different. It's much more difficult, and I guess it doesn't hurt.
Right.
I've never had anybody say it hurt at all.
Ooh, I don't know if that'd be something I would pass up. Of the Vancouver Island culture compared to the mainland or USA, is there a difference in tattoo selection that you can think of, or does it again matter? depending on the people?
It just depends on where you are.
Sure. Okay. For a cultural group over, say, 50, do they get different tattoos than, say, a demographic age of 18 to 25?
Yes, definitely. Most of the younger crowd like the new school stuff, the stuff that's called color bomb. That's where they use abstract colors for areas of the picture you wouldn't think they would use, like bright greens for shading or, you know, something like along that line. For the older crowd, they get more of the pin-ups, the old school Sailor Jerry type stuff, big bold lines, solid colors.
All that kind of stuff. Perfect. What is more common in the 21st century? Oh, yeah. Tattooing or body piercing to you?
Depends on the culture you're in. Some people, you know, if in a tattoo area, not sure. I really don't know how to answer
Sure.
that one.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Have you ever done any body piercings for
A little
individuals?
bit. I'm not too into the body piercing. People don't listen very well. They don't take care of their piercings. And that's more absolute worst case scenario, dangerous than tattoos.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
mean, you can cause nerve damage and all kinds of stuff with piercings.
Piercings. Okay. Do you think the cultural significance is the same for body piercing as it is for tattooing? Say people to broadcast themselves in a certain way?
The cultural significance, piercing is more of a rite of passage, as where tattoos is a rite of status, kind of, sort of.
Okay.
That's where it started out, and then it turned out to pretty pictures and,
Right. Stuff that
nose
doesn't.
and earrings,
For sure. In goods. Yeah. What groups are more common to get piercings, do you think? Is it the same like age groups, like 18 to 25 that get tattoos, or older, younger?
More of the younger crowd get the piercing.
Piercings. Okay.
You know, yeah. Early teens, early 30s, that's where you find your piercings and body mod.
And then overall, where do you think body modification is headed in the next 5 to 10 years?
Star Trek.
Sorry.
We're gonna see people walking around that don't even look human.
Really? It's
Yeah,
gonna be
I mean,
crazy.
you've already got it going like that now, and
Yeah.
just like tattoos, it's gonna get more mainstream.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we're a little twisted kind of a,
Culture.
species.
These pictures show the kind of talent that is in the tattoo industry today. Lots of creativity and detail put into them.
Hey, my name is Joy Williams. I have been working here since the summer, almost 2 years ago. Before that, I came in here for several years beforehand and got tattooed. So in the industry, I'm not an artist. I just try to keep them in line, as we all see it can sometimes be difficult.
For sure, for sure. So what got you interested in the culture of tattoo art?
Well, I've always had tattoos, some of which were not the greatest thought out. I was young. Most of those, all of those ones are not covered up. And so it just, I saw the evolution in just in my lifetime of the quality and the availability of tattoos. The quality has gone from biker tattoos to the lady at the doctor's office coming in and getting her daughter's name or a memorial tattoo. So it's definitely changed. It's much more mainstream. It's much more personal and less of a statement, less of a statement as to who you are. A lot of people get tattoos for themselves that are hidden. Other people don't. I personally think of tattoo as pieces of art on your body. I have some that have some meaning to me. I have 3 daughters, so I don't have their names, but I have things to represent each of them. Other than that, I go with images that I like.
But then we go. Yep. That answers a lot. You studied. Thank you so much. Can you talk about any unique tattoos that you've heard people getting in the shop, or any stories?
Well, definitely. There's been. I'll let you ask Dave that question as to the most unusual. There have been some that were absolutely ridiculous, and I think that poor person, I hope that they changed their minds since then. But then knowing who they were, we've had people that come in and we've flat out refused certain things.
Really?
Most of the time it's a younger person,
Yeah.
and we want them to be real sure. And if they're really insistent on certain things, there's certain things we're not going to do. We're not going to do a face tattoo on someone that has no tattoos. That's young. we just won't feel good about it.
No.
Other times, hand tattoos are another kind of source of contention. If you don't have a tattoo already, it does put out a certain connotation that you have to be real sure about. We do not tattoo anyone under 18 here in the shop without parent, because we used to with the parental permission, but we've decided it's just there's too many variables, and the last thing we want is half of the high school to come down here and say, hey, I heard you tattooed my friend.
Yeah.
We'd rather have someone that had enough time to think about it, and most of us see this because we were stupid at 15 and 16. That's why my whole back is tattooed, is because it's covering up all those tattoos that I thought were cool at 15, and 10 years later I thought, oh, what was I thinking? Also, as your body, as your skin ages, certain things aren't going to hold up. And nowadays, most artists are pretty conscientious about telling people and discouraging. We don't do script that is so small that it already looks like a scribble, because in 5 years it's gonna definitely look like a scribble. And we want to have the artists that are doing work, they want to be proud of the work that they put out there.
For sure.
So,
Makes sense.
yeah.
Into body piercing now. What do you think is more significant in the culture of the 21st century, tattooing or body piercing?
A lot of younger people get pierced more, or that like we hear in our shop, because we don't tattoo under 18. I myself, I'm a mother of 3 teenage daughters. None of them were allowed to get tattoos until they're 18. They've moaned and complained to me about this, how unfair and how hypocritical. Well, one of them has. But I told them, I guarantee you will get a fabulous tattoo when you're 18 if you still want that same tattoo.
Yeah.
But pierce away, and they've all had many piercings. Now my oldest just has her nose pierced. My middle just has her septum pierced. She's had pretty much everything pierced on her face, and now she's kind of just gone down to one. And my youngest, my 14-year-old, just has her eyebrow pierced.
For sure.
So I definitely think with demographically speaking, the younger age groups probably more so probably half and half with piercing. Older demographic, I would say, is probably 20% body piercing, 80% tattooing, definitely. Yeah.
For sure. And is it males or is it females that are more getting the piercings done compared to tattooing, or is it equal? Or?
Probably, Jesse would be able to tell you more,
Yeah,
but
sure.
I would say probably 40% male. If we're including ear stretching in there as well,
Yeah.
I would say probably 40% male, 60% female. But that's just from what I've seen. That's
Looking
yeah.
By listening to the artist talk about meaning behind tattoos, these people in the photos have it. Each tattoo signifies a special memory, loved one, heritage, or even a life event, like working for the police. When strangers, acquaintances, or family come up to these humans, they will be provided with the reasoning behind the tattoo choice. The people in the photos want the memory of whatever it is getting tattooed on themselves to be with them for a long, long time. There is a wide range of possibilities about why people become repeat customers. They might need more than one day to finish up a tattoo, a cover-up might need to be done on an old tattoo, or it can be an addiction, where people like the pain, attention, expressive freedom, rebellion, or even substituting for another addiction. Individuals who are engaged in tattoos show a higher level of intention to get future tattoos than individuals who have not. This is what a casual day at Black and Blue Tattoo Parlor looks like. Customers come and go between the business hours. Sometimes it's to book appointments, and other times it's to get tattoo or piercing work done.
My name is Dave Nicholson. I've been tattooing for 23 years at Black and Blue Tattoo, 3 Point Tattoo in Chinatown, Vancouver, Dutchman Tattoos in New Westminster, Burnaby, Highlander Tattoo in Prince George, which I owned and operated for 6-7 years. Before that was Next Body Piercing, Anarchy Inc., Sacred Heart Tattoo, and myself for a while, and I learned at Tattoos by Zap in Owen Sound, Ontario.
Perfect. So what got you interested in the culture of tattoo art and to work in the industry?
Too lazy to work, too scared to steal.
For sure. Why do you think the culture of tattoos is so powerful in the 21st century?
Because your day-to-day life kicks the hell out of you, and you get beat by the world in ways that you never expected when you got out of bed. And this is the opportunity that you have to decide to get hurt and to make some benefit of it. Everything else in life, I think, there's lots of uncertainty and worry, and when people want to confront that, I think they choose to get themselves hurt, whether it's with a piercing or going to the gym or joining a dragon boating club. People look for that adrenaline rush and burn of getting a kick out of choosing to have life kick their ass rather than having it happen to them. So I think that's a big part of the reason.
Perfect. If you don't mind, do you have any tattoos that you could maybe describe the significance behind?
I have my 2 current favorite tattoos are 2 of my worst, but it's because my dad did it and my mom did it. That's my dad's maker's mark, JDN, which he signed his cabinet making with for years, and that's my mother's maker's mark, which is MN, her initials, because she's been a quilter and a fabric artist for many years. So a couple of summers ago, I tattooed them both and then set up an extra set of equipment and got them to tattoo me with their maker's marks.
Sure.
The 3 dots are something Dad always puts on his original works.
Okay.
So apparently I'm a one-off.
Perfect. Thank you. Good interview here. Is it more common for you, in your opinion, for people to get tattoos that are meaningful to them?
Oh yeah, I would think so. Sometimes it seems it's a little difficult for me to suss the meaning behind it, but that person's obviously thought about it long enough to bring it to the counter, and they're the one that has to figure out how to live with it for the rest of their life. So as far as meaning goes, I mean, some things don't seem to have a lot of meaning to me necessarily sometimes. Other things are more self-evident. Gentleman I just spoke to with wanted a mechanical leg. While he already has a mechanical leg, he's missing his other leg entirely.
Right.
So that's the meaning for him. There's not a lot of deep stuff behind it. It's just, to him, that seems like a really good idea, and he wants that for the rest of his life. So to him, it's got some meaning. Now, you can take it to the other extreme. We've got some clients who've got really deep, well thought out, carefully researched and soul searched philosophies that they've put on their bodies. And that, when you learn the background stories to it, can often really rearrange the way you see things as an artist, because the client you're working for is showing you more depth than you ever thought you'd get out of that day's work.
For sure. For you, what age groups are more common to get tattoos? What have you noticed in the recent years?
Oh, I'd say it's probably remained pretty consistent to the, between 20 and 40 crowd. I would say that's probably the majority. And I think part of that is probably because you're a bit more vigorous. I know the older I get, the less I like getting tattooed. That's for sure. But I think I'd have to say it's probably the 20 to 40 set seems to be the most common. We definitely get clients that are older than that, but our 70 to 80 crowd is pretty slim.
For sure. Roughly what types of cultures, like college, ethnic groups come in for tattoos, or everybody, or?
This seems to be my week for federal prisoners.
Okay.
But things tend to go in weird runs like that,
For sure.
Lately, I've had quite a few guys who are either fresh out of jail or are on their way to jail coming to me and saying that they want to get something finished or they want to get something covered. But I'd have to say, as an addition to that, now that I'm thinking about it, a goodly number of those guys are also getting tattoos fixed or covered because they fixed and changed their own lives.
Sure.
You can't afford to get the kind of tattooing that we do if you're some shyster, lowbrow criminal. But if you're somebody who's made a lot of mistakes, gotten out of jail, and straightened his shit up, you might be finding yourself in the position where you want to cover up the bad work you've done. So that's the culture I've dealt with a lot this week, it seems. But, definitely, again, a wide variety of cultures are represented when they come into this shop. And I'm a bit of an armchair anthropologist, so I like trying to figure out what people's culture is. Especially with the tribal tattooing. What fucking tribe are you?
For sure, yeah.
And what's your cultural affiliation? Your shirt along the tribe of the dudes with swirly stuff on their arm and a couple of black dots. That's
It's nonsense when they get that, probably, right?
yeah. You got to dig into people a little bit to find out what their tribe is. Right now we certainly see a lot of representation from the tribe of the oil rig employee. We see a lot of work from the tribe of the trucker. But we also get, the taxi cab driver, the mom. We get a lot of parents. We certainly get some bikers. As I said earlier, I've had a strange amount of tough guy jail dudes lately. But who knows? Next week it's all going to be fluffy, pretty girls who want little inspirational sayings on their wrists and fingers,
For sure. That changes all the time,
It changes all the time.
For sure. So that answers my next question pretty much. So they pick ones that, it depends on their cultural, but sometimes it's not related to their culture and sometimes it is, or?
I would have to say, no matter how trivial it seems, I think that they're getting it out of tribal affiliation reasons.
For sure, okay.
Even if their tribe is just the tribe of people who spend too much time on Pinterest in the evenings looking at other people's tattoos.
For sure.
And that's a social group now, and so, I think, no matter how trivial the mark, you're identifying with some kind of subculture.
Perfect. How many repeat customers do you have in, say, a week or a month? Or even a year?
Oh, like in terms of the number of people who would come and get a tattoo and then have it worked on consistently within a month-long period.
Yep.
Geez, I'd probably say it's a good fifth to a quarter of my workload is people who come that regularly. I do tend to deal with regular clients because I do larger tattooing. You're definitely getting a monthly turnover. Mm-hmm. No mistake about that.
For sure. Do you have any stories of bizarre tattoos or ones that you refuse to do on a customer that they've asked for?
Chick with a dick.
And he
Chick
did.
with a dick. No, not to say that I tattooed a chick. Well, I did tattoo a chick with a dick.
That's another story.
The guy, yeah, no kidding. The guy comes in, great big dude, wants to get a tattoo of a silhouette of a woman standing, arms akimbo with her panties around her knees. And it was a silhouette, so it's not terribly overt. It's not too vulgar. And the guy wants it here. So he says, D comes in to get the tattoo done. He says, well, I want the chick to have a dick. I want you to show a big dick hanging down between her legs. And I was like, you're kidding me. Seriously. Yeah, and put some shading on the tits to make it look like, girl with a dick.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you're weird. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
He says, no, but I'm serious. Like, I just want to mess with all my buddies. It's gonna freak them out because they already know I'm crazy.
Yeah.
So he shows me some of his other tattoos, and he's got some like really crazy stuff. I mean, his whole forearm is a giant demon eating a vagina. And so I was like, well, you're the crazy guy, not me.
Yeah.
And so I drew a penis on this thing. And the guy says to me, it's not big enough.
Oh.
Yes, he did.
So I says, dude, I don't know. I mean, how big do you want it to get? He's like, I want it to be big, man. Like, I want it to be obvious.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, how about this?
Yeah.
And he says, no, not big enough, man. Do you think? I don't think it's big enough. Do you think it's? I said, look, you know what? This is getting weird.
Yeah.
So I'm not even entirely comfortable with this now because you're kind of weirding me out. I said, you know what? I'll tell you what. I'm not going to do this unless you sign off on it, man. Like, you got to put your initials on the stencil so I can keep this on record. Because I don't want you coming back tomorrow and saying, what the hell did you do, tattooing a giant penis on my head?
Exactly.
But tattooing takes all kinds, Some of my favorite tattoo designs have been terribly vulgar.
For sure.
Partly because they're all right and they're all wrong, both at the same time. It's a powerful emotion being expressed, and even if that expression is just humor.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what the hell? Why not? So finally, we said, look, I'm not drawing another big dick here, dude. I said, but hey, Joy, can you draw a big penis on this thing?
Which I tried to get out of it.
She tried to get out of it, but we said, look, I mean, just lay it on us and throw it down. So she did, and that was the one that he said, yeah, that's good. But she just whipped it down, you know what I mean? She didn't even want to do it. She just made it look bigger.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, seriously, guy, sign off on this. So consent form and an initial stencil later.
Yeah.
I'm tattooing it on this guy. Now, he thinks it's great. He loves it. He thinks it's hilarious. But I've spoken to people since that know him, and they said they've told him under no uncertain terms that if he's going to come to their house, where they're family, man, they got kids and stuff.
Yep.
He said, you got to wear a shirt, buddy, because I'm not having my kids see this demon eating a vagina or your weird chick with a dick tattoo. So, he sees a penalty to it, too.
For sure.
But it was what he wanted to do, and it was what his sense of humor demanded of him. So, and I am a crafts person. My job is to provide service, and it was a weird tattoo.
Yeah.
You do inspirational sayings, and you do sleeves, and you do backs, and you do friggin' wives' names, and you think all this stuff. So of course you look for a laugh now and again in a day, and this guy friggin' brought that on.
Yeah. Have you ever heard back from him? He's still.
I haven't seen him, but like I said, I've spoken to people that know him. And they've said, we told him he's crazy.
Yeah.
And they've confirmed with me that he is in fact
Crazy.
too.
It sounds
Nice
like
little fella, but
different in the head, eh?
crazy as a bed bug.
For sure.
Yep. A different sort of fella, and you meet all types.
That's a joy of doing it, though, right?
It is.
For sure.
You don't get stories like that working on an oil rig or being an iron worker. That's for sure.
For sure. And on the Vancouver Island culture compared to the mainland, say, is there any difference in tattoos, or is it all the same?
I'll say one thing that I've noticed for sure. I've been out here for 6 months. I moved over here from 3 Point Tattoo in Chinatown back in September. And one thing I've certainly noticed is that people on the mainland, especially in the city, didn't get nearly as much stuff that was, for lack of a better word, patriotic to their land per se.
For sure.
Whereas here, and also up in when I worked in Prince George, I noticed the same thing. People got things that reflect this environment. So you know, we do quite a few tattoos of arbutus trees. I don't think I've ever done a tattoo of an arbutus tree on the mainland.
Right.
But out here, we tend to do quite a few of them. I don't believe I've ever done a map of British Columbia,
Sure.
but I've already done probably 3 maps of Vancouver Island
Oh, wow.
since I've come here. So and you know, Van Isle, VI, I see this kind of stuff quite a bit as compared to over on the mainland.
Okay, perfect. Now on to, have you ever been interested in the culture of piercings, body piercings, and have you done any?
Well, I dated a piercer for 5 years. I have to say I was fairly interested in the culture of piercing at that point.
Sure.
Other than my armchair anthropologist aspect, to me it's got a lot of decorative appeal, and erogeneously it can have a certain amount of appeal as well. But having had absolute shit tons of piercings and not having many evident ones anymore,
Yeah.
I'd have to say the shine kind of wore off a bit for me. But that said, too, ever since I was a kid, probably 10 years old, reading Conan comics, I remember there was a wizard in one of these comics, and it was a shot close-up of his face, all intense and eyebrowed and creased, and in his nostril he had a ring. And I'd never seen a nostril ring on a man before, because this was probably 1982, 1983.
Right?
And so it really grabbed my imagination. I wondered what kind of spell this wizard had worked by the sacrifice of piercing his nostril. And I found it to be a fascinating image. So years later, you can bet your ass I got my nostril pierced.
For sure,
But I lost the ring at one point in some crazy situation and just never bothered to put one back in. And, you know, to me, it's kind of an easy come, easy go thing.
Yep.
Just added decoration. I love jewelry as a rule, so.
Sure. Anything to kind of decorate?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure. Do you think the culture of piercing is the same as it is for tattooing in the 21st century, or do you think it's stronger or weaker?
No, I think tattooers are a little bit more pirate, and piercers are a little more scientists, mad scientists. What are you looking for in your purse?
If it's anything in there, it's a separate business, you're gonna have to wait for him.
Yeah, I'd have to say that'd be the chief difference between us tattooers and pirates and piercers and mad scientists.
For sure, for sure.
Both admirable professions.
For sure. Some final questions here. Do you own a vehicle that you've modified in any way to help identify who you are?
I've got a custom motorcycle, a Triumph Trophy 500 that I've been working on for over too many years.
And the last question, where do you think body modification is going in the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
How's the new place?
Well, one thing that I noticed has definitely changed and will probably continue to change again is laser tattoo removal.
Isn't it
Okay.
a great location?
To be able to laser tattoo remove, or to be able to laser remove your sleeve of tribal that you got when Dusk to Dawn was the coolest movie on the screen.
Yeah, I just looked at
To be able to laser that just enough to make it easy to cover up. We're seeing a lot more of that kind of thing. People who have basically filled the whole limb, we've seen them grow with their own sense of what is artful and laser off everything they'd invested in already in order to get a whole new cohesive and unified idea.
Sure.
I'm also noticing people are getting large-scale tattoos right off the get-go. For instance, there's a gentleman right now that our buddy Bobby Tripp's working on, and he's getting his whole arm filled right away. That's his. I think it's his second tattoo.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
And he's doing his whole arm at once as one unified image.
Really? So it depends on the human probably and their mindset at the time.
A lot of people are doing it.
Yep.
A lot of people are doing it, and I think it'll continue to go that way. Large scale coverage right off the get go.
Yeah, well,
More carefully considered layouts, more trust in the artist, it seems, is the growing curve.
For sure.
But for Christ's sake,
Well, and you're not-
I
it's
know
not fun, it's
by the time my kids are old enough to modify themselves, they'll probably be transplanting animal faces on each other or some fucking crazy.
For sure. For sure. Not even human at that point, eh?
Well, I mean, I'm seeing people inject ink into the whites of their eyes.
Ooh.
No,
That's an unchangeable thing.
Yeah.
You can't laser that pigment out of your eyes. You're stuck with
9
it.
hours a week. Yes.
You know, and that's your eyes, the window that's sold, for
Yeah.
God's sake. I never would have thought I'd see that. I'm seeing, I'm hearing about implants and modification involving computer technology. And I've seen people get interactive tattoos that can be read with a barcode scanner on your iPhone to create an animation.
Right.
You know, so the tattoo itself becomes not a picture that you and I can read with our eyes, but that can be read with someone's cell phone. That's crazy. So that it's a mystery to anybody viewing it, except for someone who that person allows to photograph it with their cell phone.
Yeah. That's crazy. I've never heard of that. Yeah.
And I'm hearing also too about people having technology implanted into their fingers and stuff. You know, keys to open their doors electronically with via a signal. See you later, Joe. Have a great night, eh? Thanks for the help.
For sure.
Yeah, you mean, and now you know we hear about Google Glass. Well, glasses are a form of body modification and cultural self-expression as well.
Yep.
And Google Glass or like products, I think will really change things a lot that way.
Yeah.
Not that that makes me feel really comfortable in some ways.
For sure.
I
No.
already think. To me, one reason why, as I said earlier, sometimes I have difficulty seeing the depth in the stuff that people are asking for. I think that's partly because we're becoming a much more transient, emotional symbolism is becoming more transient.
Yep.
We're exposed to more trends and more curves than we ever were before, and as such, I think that it doesn't give us the opportunity to get used to those concepts and develop the really deep aspects of them. We hit a fairly shallow curve. And so, for instance, when we were children, I'm 40, so when I was a kid, you took a photo, you knew you had 24 exposures in your camera. Now, you were judicious about what you photographed. So many of those photos wouldn't turn out. You ended up at midway through your life with a shoebox full of photos. Because you had to make hard copies, and because there was a limited amount you could use at a time. Now that we have an unlimited amount of photography at our disposal, image gathering capacity like never before, we must have 7,000 photos and video footages of our children.
Really?
And
Yeah.
my son is only 4 years old, and my other one is 14 months. When are we ever going to look back on it?
Yeah.
We're so busy capturing the new stuff. So I don't know where, technology's interaction with the human body will go.
Yep.
But I think that that's an emergent curve.
Yep.
Because we're comfortable with body modification on this level. We implant shit under our skin to give ourselves protrusions. People have implanted coral so it'll calcify into horns.
Yep.
We've seen people core out their nostrils with pencil hole sized tubes at first go. We become more accustomed to seeing people modify themselves extensively, and I think that technology is the next logical integration into that.
Okay.
Why wear giant earplugs when they could contain your iPhone and your iPod?
Yeah. Exactly.
Look at how far behind the technology curve I am.
Exactly.
But you know what I mean, right?
Yep.
Like you could
Sure.
keep your personal computing stuff inside a pair of large ear discs.
Yep.
So you could see nose plugs that enhance your sense of smell. So when you go hunting, you can smell the deer.
Jesus, that's crazy.
No
Yeah.
reason why it's not possible within a handful of years as well.
Can you give a brief introduction of who you are and how long you've worked in the industry for?
My name is Jesse Heglin. I've been working in the industry since 2008. Yeah.
What got you interested in the culture of piercing, body piercings?
Basically, like, I used to go through a lot of my parents' old National Geographics when I was younger. And my dad dared me to get my first piercing when I was in grade 5. So I remember when I first got that done, I remember consciously thinking life's going to change. Well, I didn't think it would change this much, but yeah, that's kind of what started it all.
Sure. What got you interested in the culture of tattoo art and working in
Tattoo art, same kind of thing, yeah, just basically old tribal art and stuff like that got me into what you can do to the human body, and that led to tattoos and piercings, scarification.
Sure. If you don't mind, can you describe some of the significance behind your tattoos?
Some of them are just for balance. Mainly balance. I've changed a lot of the themes of mine just to reflect geometry and all that, just because it's, yeah, I don't know, balanced body helps a balanced mind, I always kind of think.
For sure.
Yeah.
How often do you, I guess, sorry, is it more common for people to get tattoos that are meaningful to them, in your opinion?
Pretty common, I would say. I don't handle too much of the tattoos, but I've heard a lot of people's stories that, that basically most tattoos have a story to them, yeah.
For sure. In your opinion, what age groups would be more common to get tattoos?
Oh, I'd say 20 to 30. But generally a blanketed, everyone's kind of in here getting stuff done. Yeah.
Sure. Generally, what do they pick? Ones that relate to their cultural significance, or just random?
Mostly random.
Random?
Yeah. Usually, if I'm talking to them about tattoos or piercings, I'll try to like let them know the certain cultural significance, or give them a piece of information that's kind of cool to take along with the tattoo. But yeah, a lot of people just kind of get what they think looks nice.
For sure. Since you worked in a tattoo parlor, are there any stories you've heard of people coming in that are very unique tattoos, bizarre?
Some. Yeah, I've heard of some being done in some weird places and stuff, and some different meanings. Like, yeah, basically, one girl getting a tattoo on her back, illustrating how much she likes sex back then. I think that's the weirdest one I've ever heard. Yeah.
For sure. Check here. Off the Vancouver Island culture compared to the mainland, is there a difference in tattoo selection you can think of?
Other than getting the island tattooed on them, not really too much. No, I've noticed a lot more nature scenes that these guys do, but yeah, not too much different than what's out there.
Sure. So now moving into your industry more, what is more common in the 21st century, the culture of body piercings or tattooing?
Probably tattooing at the moment, but I've definitely noticed in the last 5 years a massive increase in the popularity and the tolerance of having piercings in the working scene and just in general. Yeah.
Why do you think people get piercings?
Oh, different reasons. I know I got a lot of mine for balance and just to kind of see what I could handle and what was possible, pushing the line further and further. But mostly I find aesthetics.
For sure.
A lot of people are into just aesthetics.
For sure. Do you think the cultural significance is the same for body piercing as it is for tattoos? For example, are people to broadcast themselves in a certain way?
Kinda, depending. Like I'd say with piercings and stuff like that, there's a lot of more of a tribal background that people try to mimic with certain people, depending on if it's for an aesthetic reason or for a deeper reason. But I've also found the same thing with tattoos, so I would assume it's probably split about 50-50.
For sure. Is it more common for females or males to get piercings?
Right now, females, at least what I've noticed, but the one thing I've noticed in the last 5 years as well is that more and more guys are getting kind of more risky with their piercings. They're getting more stuff that you don't see too often done, so I like seeing that. I like seeing a demographic that doesn't get them done, getting them done.
For sure.
Yeah.
There you go. Are there certain cultures that get certain piercings, or like you said, just more casual?
I find there's certain cultures that don't get pierced as much.
Okay.
Where it's just general culture, yeah, most people are just getting general piercings, and there's certain cultures that will not get certain ones.
For sure. And in regards to modification and broadcasting identity, do you have a vehicle that you've modified in any way that helps speak out to who you are as a person at all? Or?
Actually, yeah, the first vehicle I've ever put my any effort into was the one I currently drive now, just a small pickup truck. It's little, black, got straight lines on it. I think it kind of, I don't know, I would imagine if I was a car, I'd be that car.
For sure. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. And generally, where do you think tattoos tattoos and piercings going in 10 years from now?
It's kind of torn. It'd be cool to see everyone having at least something, and then it kind of makes it a little more common around and less shocking and more tolerable to have it around in the workspace. But I'm kind of torn because the more I see it, the more I also see people not really appreciating how much of an experience that they have, and they just kind of get empty experiences out of it. But hopefully we notice a whole lot more spiritual piercings getting done and people really taking advantage of that.
For sure.
Yeah.
These photos show the individuals not wanting to make a drastic statement in a certain way, but to help promote the beauty of themselves by using jewelry, like nose piercings and ear piercings. Piercing can also draw attention to areas that a person wants attention drawn to. Furthermore, jewelry may enhance the desire to use piercing for sexual attention. It may be that women may become pierced more for reasons of rebellion, and men may become pierced more for reasons of self-identity, like being goth. Body piercing is like wearing a favorite outfit. The only difference is that body piercings are permanent attachments that are meant to enhance a person's body in a much bolder way. This jewelry helps add a unique feature to the individual. Many people who want to make a statement want to pierce their body parts to break out of the norm that society has set. It isn't unusual to find car owners that have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars customizing their vehicles, just like a human can spend when getting tattoos and piercings, if they partake in the art craze over a number of years. Modifications can range from decals to body kits. Any way a person wants to alter a vehicle to send a message can be classified as vehicle modification. In these photos, there is a wide range of possibilities. Corporations modify their vehicles for advertising by posting company decals on their cars. When talking to the BC Jeep Club through email, I was told that most people add modifications to their Jeeps for off-roading purposes, to help them get through tough terrain. Decals are a good way to send a message about personal interests like family. A very famous decal that deals with family is the baby on board. It shows people what kind of person is driving the car, which is a family-oriented one, but also what he is wanting drivers to realize, while other modifications can be for work and manual labor purposes. Personal hobbies also play a huge role in the culture of vehicle modification. These photos show the pursuit of broadcasting personality through vehicles. The culture has grown from a backyard hobby dependent on self-taught skills and homemade parts into a $19.3 billion a year industry. Everyone wants to feel distinctive, and the car is just a great tool to create an individual image. What you drive says a lot about you, so you want it to look nice and to be something special. The car is a good starting place for showing the world that you are on your way up. And by customizing it in the way that fits you best, it is saying, hey, look at me. These vehicles are all customized in different ways, but mainly for aesthetic reasons. The owners are trying to send a message that the rest of the public will pick up on. In these photos, we can see that the owners have invested lots of money and hours into making their vehicles look aesthetically pleasing to everyone. In their minds, they are modifying their vehicles to show a certain identity but even more so is the fact that they want people to notice their vehicles. These are cheaper vehicle modification accessories that owners can buy. They can still help get a certain message or identity across, but at a much cheaper price than, say, a body kit or chrome headlights ever would. It is clear that vehicle modification and human body modification have many similar aspects. Both are used for broadcasting identity and displaying messages to the world. The modifications might identify the individual who's getting them done, or they can have an overall meaning like family. People spend many hours and lots of money modifying their vehicles and bodies, so that they can show off who they are. As discussed in my interviews, many people who modify their bodies also modify their vehicles, because they are wanting to broadcast their identities as much as possible through different mediums. Whether hand-tapped, poked with a single needle, or administered with the telltale buzz of a modern tattoo machine, the basic reasons behind the choice to become tattooed haven't changed that much. Fashion, function, or just to make a statement of some kind. And the same could be said about the culture of body piercing. Fashion, function, or just to make a statement of some kind can be said about vehicles as well. Owners are spending anywhere from $2 to thousands of dollars just to fulfill a need or want. Overall, the cultures of modifying vehicles and human bodies are two that aren't going to fade out anytime soon.